Do you enjoy watching true crime videos on YouTube? Are you curious what it actually takes to put something like that together? Then stay tuned. Welcome, Erika Vieira here, and this channel is all about pulling back the curtain to reveal what it's really like to be successful on YouTube. And in this video, I'm going to give my thoughts on the interview that I just had with Stephanie Harlowe, who has a true crime YouTube channel. And we're going to dig into her biggest takeaways, or my biggest takeaways from talking to her about having a true crime channel. My name is Erika Vieira, and I am a YouTube strategist and coach behind the scenes, working with hundreds of women on growing their YouTube channels. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the exciting interviews that I have coming up for you. So Stephanie Harlowe is a YouTube content creator who started her career on YouTube doing what a lot of people do, talking about makeup. And she even talked about in the interview that I did with her, and if you haven't seen it yet, the link is in the description below, and definitely check it out after you've checked out this video. But she talked about how, she thought that for her at the time, she was in a job that she hated. She worked at a Verizon store and she just had her third child. And she's like, I don't want to be working this hard anymore. So she dabbled in a bunch of different things. She had an Etsy shop. She did Poshmark. And then she did a YouTube channel. But she was talking about makeup. And she said, at the time it was easy. I thought, okay, maybe I could talk about makeup. I love makeup. I love skincare. And she kind of ventured into that. But then she realized, you know what? I'm not super passionate about makeup. And she was really passionate on true crime and true crime stories. And so she took a gamble and decided to upload a video on a true crime story, and the rest is history. That really took off on her channel and has since helped her grow hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and she has incredible views on her videos as well. So she decided to make that her channel, basically, where she is diving into a lot of true crime stories. And for her, she said what was really important to her, because she had watched other videos on YouTube, true crime stories, different shows on that, and she said that she was always coming away with questions about what happened, or she didn't feel like there was closure, that she still wanted to know more. And she said for her channel and her videos, what she really wanted was for the viewer to be able to have everything that they needed, that they didn't need to look elsewhere for any information, that she basically was providing them with all the facts of the case and any important information. So it was her goal to basically be as informative as possible in her videos. And one of the interesting things that I found from talking with her is and you could probably tell just by watching her videos, if you're familiar with her videos or those types of videos, that they require an insane amount of research. So for you, if you have considered doing a channel like true crime related, or maybe just in general something that is sharing about historical events, then it's going to take an incredible amount of research. And for Stephanie, that was no exception. She talked about her schedule, and she talked about the amount of time that it takes her to research for these videos. And she said something to the effect, and if I don't get it completely 100% and you watch the interview, feel free to at any time just call me out in the comments below. Just want to make sure I'm remembering it correctly. But she said it took her around, I wrote down 30 hours of research per video, and she will break it up into a series, and each video is about an hour long, and some videos on average have about three videos. So she said the amount of research it takes her is 30 hours, and then she said the actual filming is about 3 hours or so per video, and then an additional 10 hours, she said, of editing. And so you're looking at, I'm putting this here now, so like 30 hours of research plus, say she does 3 videos, that's 3 times 3, so that's like 9 hours of filming for 3 videos, and then probably 10 hours of editing for each video, so that's 30. So we're looking at 30, 60, 70 hours for one true crime, which she breaks up into a couple different videos. So that's 70 hours of work. And she said that she does about 3 videos a week. So if I'm doing my math correctly, That's about 70 hours a week of work for her channel. So it is not for the faint of heart, and it is definitely a niche which is very, very popular. I mean, I definitely think her hard work pays off. Stephanie has grown pretty quickly in the last few years. According to her, she started really taking her channel seriously around January of 2018. So we're now at August of 2020, and she's got over 300,000 subscribers at this point. So very quickly, fast growth. And so, you know, I mean, her hard work is paying off, but it doesn't come without a lot of sacrifice. She said herself that she considers herself to be a workaholic, that, you know, a lot of times her family has to pull her aside, her husband has to pull her aside and be like, okay, you got to spend more time with the family, you're working too much. And so, you know, I think that happens to a lot of us that are creating content or that are running businesses, that a lot of times you can find yourself to get really lost in your business. And she mentioned that for her, she does a lot of her work early in the morning, super early in the morning. She gets up really early. And, you know, for me, that's opposite. I do a lot of work at night. I'm a night owl. Comment below. Are you a night owl? Are you an early bird? I always find that it falls into one of those two camps. And I also find that too with YouTube or creating content in general, especially as women. A lot of us are mothers, or we're holding another job, or we're doing something else. You know, in Stephanie's case, she had quit her job prior, but she did have, you know, 3 young children. So we do have to be really creative with the use of our time. And I know a lot of people out there in the business world like to say, you know, have this type of schedule or do this, and, you know, have these certain routines. And what she mentioned, what I found too, is that you're basically trying to find whatever time you can. And she said, you know, sometimes I'll find an hour here and an hour there. I'll try and find a couple hours there. And I know I find the same thing too with my business. You're just trying to find that time to be able to do what you really, really want to do. So I personally related a lot with her in regards to that aspect of running her channel, because I know for me and doing what I do, it's like there's not enough time. And she said for her, that's the biggest struggle for her, is not enough time. And it makes sense considering the type of content that she does. She mentioned also that she doesn't hire anybody, and it doesn't sound like she will, based off of the interview, based off of kind of my sense. She says that she is definitely a control freak. And I felt, and it's funny, she gave the exact same answer as Shanice from Too Much Mouth, and she's like, I'm too much of a control freak to let anybody else do any of the editing. And I found that to be the case with a lot of the people that I interview, and even a lot of my students and private clients. For them there's something almost like sacred about the editing and about that process. If that's you, let me know. But at the same time, there's other people that say, you know, that's kind of the first thing I want to let go. So I think it really just depends on who you are and what you enjoy doing. I get the sense from Stephanie, she genuinely really enjoys the editing process, but of course the whole aspect of it, like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you can't make this a job. And it's interesting to me that she said, you know, I didn't want to be working this job that I hated all these hours, and in essence she's trading it for something else that it's very time intensive, but the difference is that she loves it. And I think ultimately when it boils down to having a successful YouTube channel or business or whatever it is, and especially YouTube, you have to love what you're doing, because I've said this so many times before, you know, YouTube it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of time involved, and you have to constantly be uploading content. You can't just decide, oh, that video did really well, so I'm going to take a couple weeks off. No, because your audience is going to be like, where's that content? I'm expecting it from you. And if you are, you know, like Stephanie, and you want to do everything yourself, there does become a breaking point. And it sounds like from the interview from her that that's about to happen possibly at some point, because she even said herself she's working on a few other projects that have come from her channel that she just doesn't know, you know, how she's going to get it all done with 3 kids, with her channel, and then possibly bringing on these other projects. I mean, it's a lot of work. When she told me the amount of time she takes, I mean, 30 hours of just the research alone, plus 10 hours per video of editing. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. So I do believe that this type of channel, which is like historical based, true crime based, anything that requires you to have knowledge that maybe it's not knowledge that you already have, so a lot of research, it's going to take a lot of time. And I truly think that the only people that can actually get away with doing something like this successfully is if you truly love it. Like if you would be already spending hours of your own time just digging into these cases, right? Or just reading and absorbing that type of information. And so for her, it's just a natural extension of what she already loved. And we talked about this as well, as that's what's the beauty of YouTube, is that she didn't go to school. I mean, she studied history in school, she said, but her career prior to this channel wasn't anything related to true crime or history or anything like that. Like she said, she was a salesperson at a Verizon store. And she's like, ultimately, I just didn't love that. I didn't like being that person there, a salesperson there. That just wasn't something I liked doing. And so, even if you're doing something that maybe, and I don't know, she didn't talk about this. I could have asked her, but like, in looking at retrospect, did you actually maybe work less hours, but it felt like more and it was more painful because you pretty much found every minute excruciating? And so I found this too with myself with YouTube coaching, and my boot camp is like, I love working with people on their YouTube channel. So I can spend hours and hours and hours, when I'm doing my coaching or putting together materials for my bootcamp. And it just doesn't feel like that because you truly enjoy. So this reminds me a lot of the book, The Big Leap by Gary Hendricks. And in it, he talks about the zone of genius. And I always talk about this with my clients and my students, is that you need to find your zone of genius. And for Stephanie, it is these true crime. Because for her, yes, it takes an incredible amount of work, but because she's in that zone of genius, she is able to do it skillfully and she's able to do it successfully, right? Because it's not like she's doing a lot of work and it's not resulting in success for her, because it is. She's able to create an end product that people want to watch and that people tune in to time and time again. And so she has effectively found her zone of genius. And this zone of genius is basically her sharing her true crime stories, doing the research, digging all that stuff up and presenting it to her audience in a way that they enjoy. And that's a huge lesson, I think, for anybody that's on YouTube, is what is your zone of genius, right? What is that for you? And for her, she started off in makeup, and she realized, whether, it was, consciously or not, she herself realized she probably wasn't at her full potential with doing that kind of niche. And it was a very good intuitive decision of her to make that switch. And the feedback that she got further confirmed her instinct that, yes, this is a good idea for me to do, because the feedback is that people were enjoying it. She got views, she got more subscribers, and her channel started to grow. And a lot of times that's what happens when you tap into your zone of genius. That's when things really start to take off, and you'll see the success that you want to see. And so, I know I talked about initially, like, what does it take to have a successful true crime YouTube channel? Is it really takes a love and a passion for doing that, because the amount of work necessary to pull it off and to do it successfully is a lot. So you better enjoy what you're reading. If the thought of reading a true crime novel, and I'm just using this as an example because you can replace this with anything, right? But in Stephanie's example, the thought of reading a true crime novel, or thought of researching hours on end about different murders, just doesn't sound appealing, then obviously that's not going to be your zone of genius. But for her, she loves it, and she loved it anyways, and it was just something that she naturally enjoyed doing. And now she translated that into a career that for her, she's getting incredible opportunities. Unfortunately, because of where she's at in the discussion stages with different people, she wasn't able to reveal some of the exciting things that she has down the line that came as a result of her YouTube channel. But I'm sure, based off of what she says, that she is getting some really amazing, incredible opportunities because of her YouTube channel. And so in a relatively short amount of time, she went from somebody that was selling cell phones at Verizon to now a leader in her field on YouTube of true crime stories, in a matter of a couple years, 2.5, almost 3 years, her entire life changed, and she has this whole new career at the age of, I think she says she was 36. And so that's the power of YouTube. YouTube is truly, that's what I love about YouTube, is that there's no barrier to entry. Anybody, and her and I talked about that as well during the interview, anybody can come on the scene, and if they have a passion for something, if they've tuned into their zone of genius, then they can really make magic. So I hope you enjoyed this commentary on my interview with Stephanie Harlowe, and on the idea of your zone of genius for your YouTube channel, for your YouTube videos and your channel. And comment below, what do you feel like is your zone of genius? And do you feel like your YouTube channel actually reflects that? Do you feel like you're tapping into that when it comes to your YouTube channel. So let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, hit that like button. It helps with the algorithm. And make sure you subscribe and you click on the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos. I also have a ton of free resources in the description and more info about my YouTube bootcamp for women if you are interested. And I will see you in the next interview. Mwah.